Hello happy souls, welcome back to my channel. This is Charlotte with Happy Twins 1111. I'm really excited to do this reading. I hope you're as well. We are asking today, what are you not seeing about this person? What do you really need to know about them and this situation? What's all of the stuff that's beneath your layers of awareness that you really do need to know about to help you move forward in this connection or situation in a productive way? So I've got 3 paths for you to choose from. Take your time choosing, take a nice long deep breath. You can pause the video and douse over them if that feels good to you. I prefer to choose from the timestamps, but you might just see what crystal you're drawn to, which deck looks pretty to you. There's no right or wrong way. In pile number 1, we have the Veleda Woods Tower. I'm going to bring it up and show you. It's so pretty. And this beautiful piece of rainbow moonstone. In pile number 2, we've got the Journey of the Sacred Bee Tarot and this beautiful amethyst. And in pile number 3, we've got the Santa Muerte Tarot with lapis lazuli. So the timestamps are in the description box below. They're also pinned at the comments. I will see you at your pile. Hello pile 1, welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Veleda Woods Tarot with this lovely piece of rainbow moonstone. And we are asking today, what do you need to know about this person? What are you not seeing about them, about this situation, and what do you need to see to help you move forward in a productive way? So we're going to go really in depth. We're going to get loads of details, and this reading is intended to help bring you clarity so you can understand, what's going on with this person better. So let's do this. Take a nice long deep breath for me. Exhale all the way out through your mouth. And just hold the person you're inquiring about in mind. Ask the universe the messages you need. You can ask them for some signs as well if that helps. That can be animals, symbols, objects, numbers, song, whatever works for you. And that can just help to validate the message for you, to give you a sign that this message was meant for you. And I'm going to use a ton of oracle cards. We're going to use some charms today as well, and the message cards. What do we need to know about your person? What aren't you seeing about them, pile 1, that you really, really need to see? Let's do this. Okay, they've turned over, so I'm going to keep them. We've got the 7 of Pentacles and the Harvester of Pentacles, which, let me just remind myself, I'm pretty sure that that's the King. Let me just quickly look. Yeah, the Harvester, I beg your pardon, I think is the Queen. Yeah, so we've got the Guardian is the King. I beg your pardon, so that's the Queen of Pentacles. Sorry about this, some of these decks use different names to them. It's just got to work that out. We've got the 7 of Wands and the Magician in reverse. Clarifying, we've got Strength, the 2 of Pentacles, the World, and the 8 of Wands. Let's get some oracle cards as well. So this is the Divine Animal Oracle deck. And we have the Owl and the Horse. From the Sacred Earth Oracle, we've got Connection and Potential. From the Heal Yourself reading cards, we've got Home, and finally this is the Healers of the Earth Oracle. This is a really cool new deck. I got this from Kickstarter. It's got these lovely green sides. There's so many cards now. I love that. I love when oracle decks have got lots of different cards. Magic Beanstalk. Oh, 2 come out here. We'll keep them both. Solar Power and Good Vibration. Okay. I'll put that one there. Right. Let's do this pile 2. Sorry, pile 1 even. What do you need to know about your person? The first thing that's coming through here is your person doesn't have the strength to invest in this connection right now. They do know that there is a very special connection between you. They feel very nurtured by this connection. but they don't know how to change to make it work in a positive way, is what I'm hearing. This person feels very disempowered. They're very easily triggered and very defensive, and I don't think that this is obvious about your person. I think they present themselves as someone very confident, someone that's very sure of themselves, and because they don't let on when they're bothered, because they don't communicate about it, and they've got a real poker face about them, quite often you just assume that they don't care because they don't give you a reaction. But in truth, this person has a very fragile ego. They have a very fragile sense of self. They're easily triggered. And whilst they present themselves as this very confident, charismatic person, they don't really have good self-esteem. And so they can be very prickly and defensive when they're triggered. And I'm hearing that this has caused some conflict between you, and it's left you feeling quite confused. Like, what did I say? What did I do? How did this happen? This person's also obsessed with staying in control. You might not be playing a game, but they are. They're looking to see when you are replying, and if you take 2 hours, they'll take 3. It's that kind of vibe here. They want to keep you keen. And so they are sometimes deliberately avoidant because it helps them feel in control. It helps them feel like they have one up on you. So this isn't a particularly healthy person. And I think the first thing that's coming through really strongly that you need to understand about them is that they don't have the strength to invest in this connection right now. This person is very focused on their freedom. I feel like they may have come out of a very challenging relationship. And we've got home here, the home card, freedom. So what I'm hearing is, this person, there's been a lot of change in and around their home life and their personal situation. This could be the breakdown of a relationship or a change of address for some other reason, but they're definitely going through a stressful period at the moment. However, I am hearing that they're ascending and there is potential here. But you do need to be aware of where the energies are at this time. Now, again, this person feels very nurtured by you. They definitely are very attached to the connection. I'm hearing that they wish they could grow it in a more positive direction, but they do get this kind of sense of it being over. They don't know how to make it happen in the way that they believe it should happen. I'm hearing as well that let me just get this right. I'm hearing as well that this person is typically avoidant in relationships anyway. So they usually jump ship before they're pushed, and they're always on guard. They're always waiting, anticipating that push. So this is why it feels so very difficult, because they're, hyper vigilant in regards to any perceived slight, any perceived rejection, or any suggestion of potential abandonment in the works. They start wriggling and they probably disappear. So it feels like this person's been in and out of your zone of awareness. And I don't think you realize how much your energy has triggered them and how much your energy asks them to grow and how intimidating these changes that come up for them are. I'm hearing it's both addictive and terrifying all at once for this person to be interacting with you. Things move very, very quickly between you, and they've never felt intensity like that before. And so when they're in your presence, there's moments where they, get into this flow of beautiful energy that you share in this connection, this warmth and, this vitality. But once it kind of starts to fade or the fear starts to creep in, the heart clamps down and that energy just dissipates and they're not able to hold it. And this is probably why you feel them blowing hot and cold. Now we have got Magic Beanstalk and good vibration here. Positive vibes, uplifting resonance, ascension, elevation, reaching new heights. And again, with this home card, this person does feel so at home with you. They recognize the warmth, vitality, and uplifting energy that you present. They recognize your good vibes. They feel your light. But they don't feel like they personally align with it. in their mind, people like you don't normally end up with people like them. And so they're constantly analysing this connection and looking for a get out clause before you leave them. And I feel like you've gone to great lengths to reassure this person. And it seems to have the opposite effect. The more you express your care, the more you express your affection, they seem to enjoy that devotion in the moment, but it also causes them to pull back. And so this has caused you to stop being so authentic. This has caused you to be more reserved with your feelings. And it feels like there's now this kind of back and forward where both of you keep poking each other to see how the other feels. Now, you needed to know this because in real terms, this is the worst thing you can do with this person. Even though when you were direct and real, it caused them to kind of shut down and run a little bit, it also, did allow them to start feeling comfortable and trusting in your energies. Since you've shut down as well, this push-pull energy has intensified. And I understand, why you wouldn't want to keep showing up in an authentic way if this person isn't reciprocating or being honest in response. But the clear message here is you've got to be true to yourself. The purpose of being real and authentic isn't so we can always get a real and authentic reply. It's so that we can stand in our power, our dignity, and be true to ourselves, because that's the best way to be. So if you are choosing to withdraw intimately, i.e. not communicate directly and authentically because they're not, you're essentially perpetuating this same game, this same dance of, well, I'm not expressing if you're not expressing. And it can be very hard to stand up and be real when someone else isn't being. It triggers all of your rejection centers when you don't get the responses you want. But that energy is showing you where you need to heal. If you don't feel like you can be real with yourself and real with other people, particularly this person that you care about so much, it's really important that you address what's beneath that. Why do I find it difficult to show up truthfully? Why do I find it so difficult to communicate in a real way? Now, if we're honest with ourselves, it's usually because we fear the response. But if I say this, what will happen? Will they run away? Will they think I'm crazy? Will they not talk to me again? Will they think I'm desperate? Will that give them more power over me? So it's fear that stops us from being our authentic self. But this is what you're being called to do here. And I'm guided that this person is going to follow your lead. If you can't be authentic, they're definitely not going to find that energy. And it's not going to be an instant thing. Just because you start showing up in a healthy, real way doesn't mean that they can. It just means that they may be more inspired to, and that what you're doing is creating a real, authentic foundation in which you two can actually build something with real potential. And there is potential here, but you're dealing with an exceptionally avoidant, scared person, and you're exceptionally scared too. But, you have context, you have emotional maturity, you're growing, you're already on this journey, you're already ascending and elevating yourself in ways that this person hasn't yet mastered or isn't ready for. You're climbing this beanstalk, you're dancing with the light, but they don't yet have this capacity. Now, in truth, you both share this powerful life force with one another. I do feel that this connection is a deeply spiritual one. As I said, you trigger them to grow, but you have grown so much as a result. And also, I'm asked to remind you that energy doesn't lie. So even though you love this person very much, your impatience, frustration, the energy of resentment that bubbles up inside of you and that you spend a lot of time expressing, is what I'm hearing, is creating more waves in this connection. It's not what you say or do to them a lot of the time. It's how you're thinking and feeling inside, and those thoughts and feelings then manifest as energy in this connection. And so because you're sat in this stress, you're holding on to all of this stressful energy as far as they're concerned, it's kind of flowing into the connection and disrupting the balance. But this person is going through a very difficult period in their life. I do feel like they're probably younger than you. With the home card, it may be someone that has recently left home or even doesn't have a home. I feel like there's some instability there for them, which is really stressful. And especially when dealing with young people, we can often underestimate, you know, how difficult it is not having a stable base. Young people tend to be a bit more flighty, move around, stay with friends, you know, go new places. And we always think, you know, that they love that and they have this enormous freedom. But your person, I think, finds it particularly terrifying. There's nowhere that they really feel like they belong. And this is why they still cling to your connection. Because even though they're terrified of it and they're very commitment phobic at this stage, they do see in you that very nurturing, unconditional, loving energy. Now, I use unconditional love with a pinch of salt because in truth, I'm guided that you've not yet mastered unconditional love. You know what it means, but of course it's not an easy thing to actually live. And certainly as far as this person's concerned, you're not truly loving them unconditionally. And again, remember, energy doesn't lie. They feel that. They understand there's expectations in this connection and they understand that they're not meeting them. And they feel your frustration. They feel your disagreeableness. They feel, you know, that loaded pressure to show up in a different way. And they recognize that you are too playing this back and forward game with them. Now, you might argue that, you know, you're just following suit. If they're playing games, well, you feel the need to protect yourself and do the same. But again, someone has to start showing up as real in this connection. Someone has to start standing up for what a healthy relationship looks like. Someone has to start trying their hardest to demonstrate that. And again, the energy here is pointing out that this person doesn't have the strength to grow and change in those ways at the moment, but you're already doing that. You do have this much higher perspective. The owl I'm hearing is a personal sign for many of you, but with this owl being a number 4, it represents balance and stability, and it's actually called wisdom in this deck. Now, the owl, of course, is kind of an all-knowing creature. You know, we always associate them with wisdom and that sense of deep intuition and knowing, and I do feel that they feel you with them. This person does sense, you know, you in their zone of awareness, even when you're not with them. They're constantly thinking about you. They're connected to you in dreams, but they don't know how to show up in a healthy way, and so they do keep running. We've got this freedom, the horse again, you know, that they need to follow their own path right now. It's such a strong impulse. I don't think this person really understands themselves why they run, you know, so you not understanding it is perfectly acceptable, but you're really being guided to recognize that it's not personal. It's simply a reflection of where this person is at in their journey and what's going on in their life. You know, they do see you as this beautiful, nurturing energy, but they just don't see that this is something they can safely anchor themselves in right now. And they may not even be able to articulate it in that way themselves. As I said, I don't think they know why they actually run. So let's get some more tarot cards. Where have I put them? Oh, they're there. What else do we need to know about this person? What isn't the viewer seeing about them that they really need to? 8 of Swords in reverse, 2 of Wands in reverse, and the Page of Pentacles in reverse, the Chariot, the 9 of Swords, and the Hermit. Wow, so we have a lot of energy here that really confirms what we've already seen. The 8 of Swords in reverse is definitely a more positive energy than it is upright, because it suggests that those limiting beliefs are being addressed, and it features a dandelion here, and dandelions leaves, they're like detoxifying. When we eat dandelion leaves, it actually cleanses our liver, cleanses our vital organs. And so with this 8 of Swords coming up in reverse, I do feel that they're at least becoming aware of their own dysfunctional thought patterns, their own self-created thought forms that aren't supporting them. And this is something they felt divinely inspired to do. Again, you know, the flowers here, I can't remember what it's called, something. Anyway, they use it to treat depression. We have got the Nine of Swords here, this stress. But again, with the Chariot being a divinely guided energy, it represents, you know, divine drive, divine inspiration. This person is growing. It may not be in really determined and deliberate ways, but the universe is constantly prodding and poking them into awakening. They're constantly realizing things about themselves. They're certainly nowhere near as far along the path as you are. But this seems like a beautiful reassurance that, you know, stuff is happening even if you can't see it. They haven't worked everything out yet, but they are taking responsibility and becoming aware of their own dysfunction. You know, this person, however, doesn't know how to choose happy. And of course, we all know it's easier said than done, don't we? Don't be depressed, smile, be happy, it'll be okay, let it go. You know, that kind of toxic positivity. There is a gap between knowing and being. For example, you know, intellectually, I know that to be fit and healthy and not a fat bitch, I should probably go to the gym every day. I know this, but being fit and healthy and not a fat bitch is a different thing altogether. There's a bit in the middle called doing. And quite often, we don't know what to do to achieve this new state of being. And this is where your person is at. You know, they're recognizing that their way of thinking, their way of approaching and responding to life isn't healthy. They're recognizing that there's, you know, something amiss and that they don't feel good in themselves and that there is an opportunity to feel better, but they simply don't know how to do that. They don't know how to make the right decisions to lead them there. And I do feel that that awareness has also, again, been very triggering for them because, you know, they're at an age, I'm hearing, where they're starting to become more aware of how other people interact with one another and live, and they're comparing themselves. They're realizing that they perhaps didn't have the best start in life and that they're now kind of, you know, stuck in this mess that they're not how to fix. And so it's felt very disempowering. You know, it's really damaged their esteem. There is a little bit of victim consciousness here. Why me? You know, I've got such bad luck. These are the negative thoughts that they're learning to release and recognize about themselves. I do feel this person's actually quite spiritually aware. And they're not particularly well educated on the topic, but they're intrigued and interested and open-minded. And it feels like you've shared a lot of information with them that has kind of planted a seed. But I'm seeing here with this Page of Pentacles, just as I said that they're literally planting a seed, you know, an acorn, which will grow into this big, strong oak tree. But it's in reverse. You know, the Page of Pentacles is about that very tentative first steps, planning what to do next. And we can see here that they're not ready to actually take that step. They're not ready to plant the seed. They're still reflecting on this very deeply. They're still ruminating about this. We've got the hellebore here. You know, that's a flower that rises up in early winter. Without the warmth, without the energy, it starts to come into bloom. And you know, the Hermit is all about that deep inner reflection, you know, taking ourselves out of the kind of whirlwind of social interactions and so forth, and actually going in and spending time alone to really figure this out. So a big part of this person's withdrawal or running is also connected to this very deep energy of self-reflection that they're currently going through. And you know, you may find that they haven't been as social as usual in general. Again, the message here is that it's not personal. So I want to get some more cards. I want to understand, you know, how you can best support this connection right now, how you can expect it to move in the near term. How can you expect it to move in the near term? We've got the Two of Swords in reverse. We've got the Knight of Cups. Sorry, not the Guardian, the King of Cups. We've got the Hanged Man in reverse and the Five of Swords. So no decisions are being made at this stage. This person isn't currently able to see the truth. They're not able to see the perspective that you have. The Five of Swords can indicate conflict. And so, you know, there is a warning here again as well about control, because we've got the King of Cups up. This is Scorpio energy. Now, the King of Cups is secretive. It's very deep, it has very deep feelings, but there's also a very guarded energy about Scorpios. They know the potential impact of sharing and expressing feelings, and so they're very strategic about doing that. You know, they give a tremendous amount of thought and perhaps overthink before they express. And so for this to come up, this really sounds to me like someone that's continuing to keep their emotions under their hat. I don't think you need to actually take any major action. You know, this is a really clear sign that no decisions are being made. Energy is in motion. You know, the perspective needs to change, and that hasn't happened yet. But I want to understand what this potential conflict is about. How can you, you know, recognize that when it presents so that you can handle it differently? This is the benefit of looking into the future. You know, we can see what's coming that doesn't look fun, and we can be prepared to address it in a more productive way. So what is this conflict regarding? We've got judgment. So again, you know, this is going back to your expectations and all the truth that you're holding and not expressing. The frustration, the resentment, the bitterness, the anger, all of those ugly feelings that you've been keeping to yourself, but probably been complaining to your friends about, and, you know, talking to people, oh God, he's done this, and now that this has happened, and I can't believe it, what an asshole. You know, remember, energy doesn't lie. This judgment is showing you too where you need to heal. The shadow aspects in your person are also in you. People are just mirrors. You know, they're projections of our own inner shadow, our own inner darkness. And when we are triggered, irritated, frustrated, offended, or whatever by someone else's behavior, it's because it's in us too. It's the part of us that agrees with what they're saying that is triggered. You know, a classic example, I mean, I'm not fat, I'm kind of a normal weight, but I'm not skinny either. But if someone insulted me and made comments about my weight, it wouldn't trigger me because I feel confident in my body. I like my body. I know who I am and what my body is. So a comment like that wouldn't trigger me. But if I had a sensitivity there, you know, if I felt ugly in my body, I would be much more sensitive to comments about it from others. It would trigger me. And so this person's really showing you where you still need to heal. They're showing you which shadows reside in you. It doesn't mean that you have the capacity to behave like them. It's just showing you that that shadow is in you too. You probably express it differently, but when they communicate with you, it's being triggered just as you're triggering them. So judgment here, you know, judgment, we have to judge ourselves and we have to judge other people. It's how we form an opinion. It's how we figure out if someone is right or wrong for us, you know, by judging and deciding. But judgment doesn't have to be harsh. It can be kind. It can be compassionate. And it's wise to recognize that we all have the capacity for ugly behavior. We've all hurt people. We've all been avoidant. We've all ignored people. You know, it doesn't make us abusers. In most cases, it's a projection of our fear. It's a representation of our dysfunction. It shows us what this person hasn't yet learned, or it shows us where they're hurting. You know, most people that behave badly have been treated badly, or they haven't been shown how to behave properly. And they're still learning that. It doesn't make them a bad person. So there's conflict coming up in the future for you connected to judgment. And you're being asked to recognize how that doesn't serve you, to focus on the positives and to look at judgment from a more loving and kind perspective. And if you're judging them harshly, how are you judging yourself? You know, I wrote about this on my community page last week. Check out my community page on YouTube. There's a post about our inner dialogue and how we can sabotage ourselves. And this is what your person is learning to overcome with this Eight of Swords in reverse. You know, they're aware that they have these ugly thoughts about themselves, and you probably are working through a similar energy. And so you're being asked to really pay attention to that and to be conscious that your thoughts and feelings about this person do filter into the connection as energy. Just because you're not saying, oh my God, I think you're such an idiot. I can't believe you did that. What a horrible person. You know, you're so immature, you're so embarrassing, you're so mean, you're so whatever. You know, just because you're not saying it to their face doesn't mean that the energy of the connection isn't feeling it. You know, energy doesn't lie. Energy goes where intention flows. So, you know, this person, they're just very messed up. They're very messed up. What's the guidance for you here? What's the guidance in terms of how you can best support the energies of this connection? Ace of Pentacles in reverse, 10 of Pentacles in reverse, 8 of Pentacles in reverse, and Ace of Swords in reverse. Okay, pile one, I'm going to be real with you. You know I always am. I don't sugarcoat it. I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. This relationship isn't going to happen anytime soon. There's potential here, but so much growth is needed. We've got 2 aces in reverse. You know, that tells me that this new beginning is blocked right now. There's truth that still needs to be revealed and integrated. And that seed needs to be sown. We've also got the 10 of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, and there couldn't be a clearer message that this isn't going to work right now. There are no union energies on the horizon. And the fact that these cards have come up as guidance, you know, it is really drawing your attention back to where it needs to be. There's potential here, but you are ascending. And your person is definitely behind the curve, and you need to develop a layer of acceptance around that. You know, you need to release your expectations, and in doing so, you create space for this connection to flourish and grow in the way it's meant to. At the moment, there's meant to be this separation. At the moment, you're both learning about judgment, about judging self and others with kindness and compassion, but more importantly, you're learning about the judgment that exists in your inner dialogue and how to counter that. A new beginning is dependent on truth. You know, that came through really strong for you. Authenticity. You've got to start being true. And to be true to someone else, you first have to be true to yourself. You know, and we do tell ourselves lies. It's called cognitive dissonance. When our ego doesn't want to acknowledge the truth, it clings on to the false truth that helps us feel better. You know, for example, I'm just trying to think of an analogy. Oh, I can't, nothing's coming to me. But, you know, I don't know, I guess it's like me. I'm going back to the weight issue. I don't know why it's coming up today. But for example, you know, as I said, I know I'm not overweight, but I could do with losing a few pounds. I know I'm not fit. But the ego part of me says, I'm okay. I'm doing all right. It doesn't matter that I'm not as healthy as I could be. You know, we don't want to acknowledge to ourselves our weaknesses. We don't want to acknowledge to ourselves often where we're not doing our best, where we're not really giving ourselves what we deserve and need. And so if we can't be honest with ourselves, it's very difficult to be honest with other people. You know, we have to align with our own truth. And this is what you're being asked to do here. You're being asked to recognize that the rejection, the perceived rejection from this person isn't actually about you. It's about them. It's about where they're at in their journey and what each of you needs as individuals to move forward. But this connection right now wouldn't work. It would look karmic and toxic and dysfunctional because neither one of you has learned to interact in a healthy way, to show up in an authentic and honest way. You're learning to do that. As I said, you've definitely got more emotional awareness in this person, but they are not there yet, and you can't make them be there. You know, as I said, there's a gap between knowing and being, and it's doing, and we can't do that work for them. We can only do our own. That's where your focus needs to be, part one. Right, I'm going to get some more guidance oracle cards as well. This is the Sacred Earth Oracle again, and we're going to get some charms. If you're interested in what decks I'm using, I do always list them in the description box below. We've got Revolution, we've got Motion, and we've got Alchemy. What powerful energies. I want to get some more animal cards as well. We've got the Fruit Bat or Flying Fox and the Wolf. And from the Heal Yourself cards, we've got Self-Sabotage, Courage, and Take Off Your Masks. Again, authenticity. It's coming up strong for you, pile one. Right, let's get some charms. Oh, one fell out. Wow, we've got quite a few here. We're going to keep them all. This is a positive sign, and I do feel that. I do feel that there's potential here. There is a lot of positive energy. Please don't be disheartened that it's not your union time. If you're feeling very triggered by that, again, this is showing you where you need to heal. Love isn't needy. True, unconditional love, balanced, healthy love doesn't need. We've got the hourglass as well. We've got love hurts. We've got the IPHM badge. I'll explain what that means in a minute. We've got the tape measure. We have introvert. And we have empower. Don't overthink it. And finally, last one, the record or music player. So guidance path 1. Trust that there will be a revolution. Trust that everything continues to move, change, and come into balance. Alchemy is a powerful message to come up here. You know, it's about balance and harmony. It's that perfect chemistry, you know, mixing things together in a harmonious way to achieve balance. And so for me, this is a very affirming sign. You know, things are changing, things are in motion. How are you self-sabotaging yourself? This is someone, look, who is literally trapped by their own shadow aspects. The hawk up here is a symbol. I think that's actually an owl, but it's a symbol of higher perspective, messages from spirit, and she's not seeing these. You know, the moon's in the background, again, another symbol of intuition, but she has her back to these symbols. She's not tapping into her own wisdom and guidance. She's not seeing the higher perspective that spirit is trying to show her and guide her in. Her light is snuffed out. You know, the candle here is snuffed out, and she's literally, look at that. You know, they've got their hands all over it. It's like she's trapped by these darker energies. This may suggest to some of you that you need to literally be cleared. If you have a lot of unwanted energies or attachments in your field, perhaps you need help clearing that. You can book Spirit Release Therapy on my channel. But for sure, this is someone that is not recognizing how their own behaviors creates low vibrational energy that counters this ascension and these positive vibes. You know, we are responsible for our own vibration. Low vibrational energy is in everything. It's in people, places, spaces, circumstances, conversations. But we get to choose what energy we engage with. And we get to choose the energy we cultivate for ourselves. And we cultivate our energy with our thoughts. So again, this goes back to energy doesn't lie. If your thoughts are aligned with frustration, resentment, bitterness, anger, hatred, you know, all of those ugly energies, then you're moving yourself into low vibrational energy. Now, we can't help feeling that way sometimes, but we don't have to dwell there. And, you know, you have a responsibility to yourself to be more kind when it comes to judging yourself, to be aware of how that inner dialogue is sabotaging you. Trust that your person's going to develop that strength. Remember, one of the first cards came out was strength in reverse. And I said to you, you know, this person doesn't have the strength to invest in this connection right now, but they are finding their own light. And, you know, try and leave them to that. Recognize that you can't do that work for them. They're going to build up the courage to move forward. 3 is the energy of creation. 0 is the energy of new beginnings. You know, this is going to be okay. There is going to be growth, but they have to take those steps themselves. This is hermit energy as well, you know, holding that light up and looking at the truth. There's a powerful message here about masks. Take off your mask. And this is what we were talking about. You know, you've been sitting in this energy of, well, they're not authentic, so it's not safe for me to be. And then you're both stuck. It's just a back and forward cycle of, I can't be honest. Well, they're not honest, so I can't be honest. And, you know, vice versa, and on it goes. Someone has to be brave. Someone has to take off their mask. And look, I'm really intrigued here that we've got this dancer, this ballerina, and then hanging up the dancing shoes and taking the mask off, really truly stepping into that good vibration. And again, we've got those 2 music symbols. So music and dance is obviously relevant to your connection. Perhaps it's just that metaphor for dancing with life, dancing with authenticity. But part 1, it's safe to be who you are. You are enough. You know, the reason we fear being ourselves is because we fear that our true selves won't be accepted, that our true selves might offend someone. Our true selves might cause people to dislike us, to run away, or to disapprove. You know, it's fear. And if you can't accept yourself, well, then no one else can accept you. You know, this all boils back to unconditional love for self. And look at this. Can you believe this? The wolf, and look what it says there. Authenticity. You know, the lone wolf showing up to face judgment, to be real. You know, wolves don't normally travel alone because they're vulnerable. They're pack animals. So when a lone wolf approaches a person, there's this courage. You know, this is about being brave. And this is a number 17. You know, that's connected again to number 8, the number of infinity, an ongoing cycle of learning that you're both in. We've got the fruit bat and the flying fox, kindness. It's hard to be kind to someone that's hurting you. It's hard to be the bigger person and to step into authenticity and say, you know, I forgive myself, I forgive you. I recognize that your behaviors aren't a reflection of me. Forgiveness for self, compassion for self, it's coming in strong. This is a positive sign, pile 1. You know, this is the empowering guidance you needed to move forward. And everything is happening in perfect divine timing for you. I know it hurts. You know, I know it's not easy. And you've been incredibly brave. And you've worked incredibly hard. And Spirit is acknowledging that. So much so, this IPHM badge is very cool. I received this from IPHM because I am an accredited holistic practitioner. So they're like a governing body for holistic practitioners. So because I'm a spirit release therapist, Reiki Master, crystal healer, all that jazz, I am a member of this organisation. And that helps people using my services understand and recognise and feel safe in that my qualifications have been checked. IPHM, you know, essentially accrediting my skills and confirming that I am a legitimate holistic practitioner. So when this comes up for you, for me, this is a big sign that you need to go pro. You know, you are being called to mission. You're being called to action. Whatever holistic practices you've been nurturing and developing in yourself, it's time to reach out into the wider community and start making waves. You have a beautiful gift for helping others. It may not be in the traditional sense. Perhaps it's not Reiki. Perhaps you're a nurse or a physiotherapist or a counsellor or something else. But you have a way of lighting up other people. You have a way of lighting up the world. And for me, this is a very powerful message that you're being called to action. But of course, as always, you have to have the courage to light yourself up as well. You need to be more measured in your response to this person. There's a message here to curb your impulsivity. You know, when you feel triggered, try and learn not to react from a negative emotion. When a negative emotion rises up in you, you know, what you want to be doing is facing it. Oh my goodness, this isn't a nice feeling. Where has it come from? What is it trying to show me? What do I need to know about this feeling, about myself? And when we teach ourselves to respond to our own unpleasant feelings and thoughts that way, we become empowered to make positive change, and for ourselves and for others. And so you're being asked to respond more slowly, to think very carefully about what you're really trying to achieve before you speak, because you have this habit, and I'm hearing your person does as well, and this is what causes conflict between you. You have this habit of when the emotion bubbles up, it overwhelms you and it all comes spilling out. And sometimes you say things which are neither helpful or conducive to positive, healthy relationships. Your person does this too. You have to learn to slow down. You've got to trust that this period of solitude is important for both of you. As I said, lots of hermit energy here, you know, but this is supposed to empower you to take care of yourself. This is a divine feminine fist pump coming right at you. It's saying you've got this, pile 1. You know, you're gonna own this. There is so much potential and power here, so much vitality and evolution available to you. Stop overthinking it. You know, this came up at the beginning of your reading. Both of you have this tendency to overthink. And you don't need to. It doesn't help. Again, this is about becoming aware of our own negative thought process and unraveling it. Why am I thinking this about myself? Or why am I making this assumption about that person? And I'm hearing that you do that all the time. They haven't called me. They're probably with someone else. They probably don't like me anymore. I've not heard from them for weeks. They must have been with that other girl or been somewhere else. You know, your mind runs away with you. Don't get worried about what you don't know. Getting anxious or fearful or upset based on assumptions. Music is important to you. There's something about music that contains, I'm hearing healing activation, so high vibrational music, sound healing is referenced here, and also listening carefully to the songs that this person shared with you, you know, because they don't express themselves authentically, but they do send songs that they feel resonate with how they want to express themselves. So that's something for you to pay attention to, pile one. Whew, what a long reading for you today. I really hope you enjoyed it. I did. And as I said, this is a positive sign, pile one. I'm really, really excited for you. I'm going to take this over to the extended now. We're going to go deeper. We're going to get messages from your person. We're going to get more guidance, see what else you need to know about this person that you're not currently seeing. If this has resonated for you, you can find the link to the extended in the description box below, also pinned near the timestamps in the comments. But thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for all of your donations. You really are so generous. And for those of you that take the time to watch a commercial, it makes the biggest difference to my channel. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And for those of you that send me lovely decks and hit the like button, I appreciate all of your subscriptions. That means I'll see you next time and we can be friends. So thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to check out my website if you'd like to book spirit release or classes with me. You can find me at happysouls1111.com, and you can also find me on Instagram at happysouls1111. I will see you next time, pile one. Lots of love. Bye. Hello, pile two. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Journey of the Sacred Bee Tarot and this beautiful amethyst. I actually love this piece of amethyst. It's got this little weird imprint in it. I'm going to show it to you. Being as you chose it, you see that little imprint there, like that cross. It's a Saint Germain symbol, so I refer to that as my twin flame amethyst, because Saint Germain is the patron saint of twin flames. Anyway, part two, we are asking today, what do you need to know about your person? What are you not seeing about them that you really need to see to help you move forward for your highest good and the highest good of this connection? So take a nice long deep breath for me. Hold in mind the person you're inquiring about. Ask the universe for a sign if that feels good to you. You can ask for an animal, maybe not a bee, because there's definitely bees in here, so it's too obvious, or an object or a symbol, anything that works for you. And that just helps validate the messages that come through. It helps you trust that it's just for you. Remember, these are general readings, so they're not going to resonate 100% for everybody. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Don't try and make it fit. And we're going to use a ton of oracle cards. We're going to use the charms. There will be an extended reading today as well. What do you need to know about your person that you're not seeing? Part two. Let's do this. Okay. We've got the Queen of Pentacles, the Devil, the Four of Wands in reverse, and the Six of Cups. We've got the Three of Cups, the King of Pentacles in reverse, sorry, Three of Cups in reverse as well, the Ace of Pentacles, and Judgment in reverse. Okay, let's get some oracle cards as well. We're going to start with the Divine Animals Oracle. We'll keep that one that fell out. That's the Orca. And one more. We've got Butterfly. From the Sacred Earth Oracle. Oh, okay, I didn't mean to get three, but these came out for you, so we'll keep them. We've got Influence, Expectation, and Balance. I'll just move that up. And then from the Heal Yourself deck, we've got Self-Sabotage and Inner Child. Pile two. What do we need to know about your person? Actually, I didn't get any from this deck. This is the Healers of Earth Oracle. Let me make room for these. Okay, we'll put them down here. Right, let's see what we've got here. Black Swan. And the Sky Bridge. Okay. Right, part 2. What do you need to know about your person? What are you not seeing about them, about this situation? I do feel that this person isn't available, that they're in a relationship, they're in a third-party situation, possibly married or very committed. Now, if you are not aware of that, if you don't know that they're in a relationship or married, then maybe this isn't your reading. Okay, I don't want you to start panicking, but it does feel, with the first card out here, I mean, we are asking, what don't you know? Perhaps this person hasn't been honest with you, but I'm hearing it's not so much that, it's that they haven't been honest with you about the state of that relationship. I don't think that this relationship they're in is a particularly happy one, if I'm honest with you. This person has addictions. This person is not able to commit themselves in a responsible, healthy way to the relationship they are in. And this is probably why they are interacting with you. They've got some very unhealthy patterns here with this devil energy, some unresolved shadow aspects, which means they cannot show up in a committed way. And, you know, the King and Queen of Pentacles are counterparts. They're that stable, committed relationship, and it's the King that's coming up here in reverse. With this Three of Cups in reverse clarifying the Queen of Pentacles, I'm hearing this is what keeps them from you for the most part. It's why they don't show up as much as they should. But I do feel this person isn't always entirely honest about what is happening in their relationship. They may have led you to believe that it's, you know, over, or that they're ending it, or that they're leaving, and you may not be seeing, you know, any action to corroborate that storyline. They are very deeply influenced and addicted to you, but they do have other addictions. I'm hearing substance addictions here. Cocaine is coming up really strong for me, Class A drugs. They're struggling to really adapt to a responsible, committed life. This person has a lot of unresolved inner child pain, and so they're kind of stuck in this very destructive, self-sabotaging, kind of adolescent energy. You know, it's like they haven't evolved past the age of trauma. So something occurred in their childhood, probably during adolescence, that stunted their emotional growth and evolution. And so this person's probably very, very frustrating to deal with. They may appear to be, you know, to have their lives together, but beneath the surface, they are a bit of a mess. And it's because they don't have the skills, the tools they need to navigate life in a mature way. They haven't been taught that. Something happened to this person that deprived them of the experiences they needed to be the man, you know, and they feel this very deeply. Now we've got the Four of Wands in reverse here. In this card, it's called Perfected Work, but of course this is the twin flame image. We can see the two 11s here represented. It's often associated with the twin flame connection, but this is coming up in reverse. And we've got the Ace of Pentacles here. Perfected work. And what I'm hearing is this person doesn't have the capacity to make this work at the moment. However, a cycle has shifted in your connection, and this is a very new beginning for both of you. I want to just get some clarifiers here for this relationship energy, this karmic energy that's showing up. What's the truth of that connection, please? We've got Queen of Cups, Page of Cups, King of Wands in reverse. Okay, so these people have probably been together a really long time, possibly since youth. They may have children together as well. Page is showing up, can often indicate children, but for me it could be the childhood connection instead. So take what resonates for you here. With the Queen of Cups, this is Cancerian energy. We have mostly earth energy in this reading, but you can see that there's a lid on her cup. The Queen of Cups is very reserved. You know, she doesn't express herself easily. She knows when to express herself, but there's a measured energy about giving with this. Now, even though the Queen of Cups is very nurturing, very affectionate, very loving, what really jumped out to me was the lid on this cup. And what I'm hearing is that affection and genuine love and support has stopped flowing in this connection. And with the King of Wands coming up in reverse, this is that ill-dignified cheater energy. You know, it matches the devil energy. It's someone who isn't able to be committed, someone who is still, you know, having their cake and eating it. So it does feel like, you know, these two people have stopped interacting in a loving way, but they're not making steps to kind of move away from this connection. Instead, they're expressing all of their concern, confusion and discomfort in this connection by having this secret life of their own. You know, they're wearing masks. They're not trying to resolve this, but they're not stepping away from it either. They're just having their cake and eat it. They're using distracting behaviours to soothe themselves, to cope with life. This is a very negative cycle and pattern that this person's been stuck in for a really long time, is what I'm hearing. But again, something has changed. I'm really drawn to the jewel at the center of this bee's body here. I'm hearing there's been some powerful heart activation here. And so even though the situation with your person may look quite hopeless, it does feel like something in the flow of the energy has shifted in a dramatic way. This person does care about you such a great deal. They get such a huge rush of pleasure when they interact with you. They are aware that there's a great sense of familiarity between you and that this connection is meaningful in some way. But they are also emotionally stunted. This person doesn't have the capacity for real intimacy. They don't know how to have a really deep conversation. And this is why, you know, the relationship they're already in is in so much trouble. They don't know how to look at themselves. This person, you know, they get those intrusive thoughts. I'm a bad person. I'm doing this wrong. Shame, guilt, all of those ugly feelings come up. But they're very, very good at squashing it back down. They really are their own worst enemy. Again, we've got this self-sabotage energy here. And this is someone that, you know, tries to maintain a semblance of a normal, responsible life, but beats themselves up mercilessly for not actually managing to live up to this ideal, this expectation that I'm hearing is also cultural and family oriented, you know. And this keeps them so stuck as well, that the potential judgment if they leave the relationship, they don't want to be perceived as a cheater. They don't want to be perceived as someone who isn't responsible or committed or a good man. Could be a good woman in your case, but they're very sensitive to the opinions of others. They don't want to receive disapproval from their community, from their family, or from the people around them. And so this, again, it keeps them stuck. They don't face themselves because they're so sure that who they really are would never be accepted or approved of. And so they have these dirty little secrets, you know, this drug habit, these, you know, third-party situations outside the boundaries of their committed relationship that is struggling under this pressure, and yet they're taking no action here. Now, pile two, if this is the person you're involved with, you've got to be real about what's on offer, which, to be quite clear, is probably just a physical relationship. You've got to be real about this person's capacity for healthy, meaningful connection. Even though there is dramatic transformation occurring here, even though there is a deeply psychic and intuitive connection, this person is very stuck. And though something has shifted and changed, I don't see that they are they are worthy of your devotion at this stage. You are a powerful influence in this person's life. You have been responsible for the very brief interactions they've had with self. And my guide Arthur is emphasizing brief. They're saying that when you tune into this person, when you work with them at an astral level, an energetic level, when you're sending them healing, good wishes, when you're focused on growth or healing, this is triggering this person's growth, and this is what's created this change. As I said, you bring a lot of pleasure and peace to this person, but the dissolution of their ego is a very slow process here. It's a very slow process. Now, I want to get a clarifier for this card, Black Swan, because this says an unforeseen event, a surprise, or hindsight. So I'm going to get some more cards. I want to clarify. Oh, just dropped my chair. I want to clarify what this is about. What is the unforeseen event or surprise? We've got 8 of Wands. What's the benefit of hindsight? 9 of Swords. I'm going to get clarified for the 8 of Wands. 5 of Swords. Okay. So I'm feeling that this person may come rushing in. But we have anticipated conflict here with the 5 of Swords, and we also have despair with the 9 of Swords. So, you know, to my mind, pile 2, and you know I don't sugarcoat it. I tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. This is a very spiritual connection. We've got mediumship, intuition, and psychic experiences here with the Sky Bridge. And what I'm hearing is that, you know, this probably is a very soulful or twin flamey connection. There's some kind of soulmate energy here. We've got that 6 of Cups as well. But right now, this connection, even though you are psychically, mediumistically connected and, you know, you're exchanging energy, codes, information, activating one another's growth, that the space around this connection, the circumstances around it, the third party situation, and this person's own dysfunction do not leave enough room for a healthy, happy relationship to grow at this time. If anything, there's going to be some unexpected conflict, which causes stress, shadow aspects revealing themselves. And I get a really strong sense of, it's not impatience on your part, but it is the energy of waiting. And Spirit is saying to you, you don't need to wait. It's safe for you to keep moving forward. The soul which you share will continue to transform. We've got butterfly energy here. It's referred to as the soul. We've got song lines, which, you know, the energy, the vibration, the messages are reaching each of you, even though you may not be consciously aware of them. Change is underfoot, but there is so much that needs to be brought into balance. And look at this line here. We've got the dragonfly, which is a symbol of skating across the surface of the emotional body, not really going deep. And even though they're kind of connected here and holding hands, there's this kind of line that separates them, that pushes them apart. And it's called balance, this card. You know, this connection can't work until the energies are balanced. And right now, each of you is working on balancing self in your own very personal ways. You need to release expectation, and there's lots of Taurus energy here. I'm hearing for some of you, there's a baby clock ticking, and you desperately want to have a family with this person. You see them as your happy ever after. And so I feel like what you need to know about this person right now is that they're not ready for that. And that if you have these expectations, you're going to have to find ways to move towards what you want and to release what doesn't allow, you know, for what you want. It's kind of like me saying, you know, if you want to be a veterinarian, stop applying for doctor's jobs. You know, you can't get what you want if you keep showing up in an environment where what you want isn't available. And this is the message here for you. Your person is a mess. They're tangled up in a karmic situation. They're very addicted to you. They know there is a powerful energy between you. but this person isn't ready to receive you. They're not ready to receive themselves. They don't have the same heightened state of self-awareness that you have been developing as a result of the I'm really drawn to these moons, as a result of the journey you have taken. We have to cycle through the whole process to become whole. You know, a new moon can't just become a full moon overnight. There's a cycle, there's a journey, and you know, your person isn't on the same evolutionary frequency as you, and so the energy remains unbalanced. It doesn't leave space for you two to come together. Right, let's get some more oracle cards for you. In fact, I'm going to use the tarot. What else do you need to know about this person, part 2? We've got the Tower. We've got the Three of Swords. We've got the Nine of Wands in reverse. And we've got the Five of Wands in reverse. Pile 2, you know, these are such hard messages to deliver because no one wants to hear this. No one wants to hear this connection's not going to work right now. You can't have it. But, you know, again, the Nine of Wands in reverse. We've got the Tower. We've got sorrow and heartbreak. The Nine of Wands is about endurance. When it comes up in reverse, it's showing us that there's no stamina right now in this connection. This third party situation is too explosive and painful. Again, you know, when the Tower comes down, there's no room to sit and have a good time. We have to focus on rebuilding. And, you know, this is what Spirit is drawing to your attention. This person's life right now is a mess. You know, the Tower has been struck and everything is crumbling around them. And they have to rebuild from that point. They have to heal the situation that they are in. They have to heal their own soul. They simply do not have the stamina to pursue this connection in the way you expect, need and want right now. And, you know, with the Five of Wands in reverse, I feel that they've worked really hard to stay away from you. They don't want to play games. They do care about you. They know that their interaction, or sorry, the way they're interacting with you isn't conducive to you guys having anything good. They feel guilt around that. They know that they should just leave you alone, give you space to move on, but they struggle to let you go. But there is a message here that they're not trying to play games. You know, they're not doing this deliberately. It's an addiction. You make them feel so good, and so they keep showing up, they keep triggering you. And in many ways, this is a beautiful blessing, but it's also inhibiting you from taking the steps forward that you need to take. So it's really important that you understand where this person is at so that you can make an informed decision about where to go with this relationship. And I use that term loosely because, as I said, it feels like, you know, you're not in a real relationship with them because they are committed to someone else, possibly with children. They're not happy there, but neither are they taking action to bring that connection to a close. It's crumbling around them and they're not facing it. They're not picking up those rocks and rebuilding right now. They're just staring at the mess and running away from it in a panic. And this is such a hurtful situation for everybody concerned. And I'm so sorry for you, part 2, because I understand how hard this is. There is nothing more painful than seeing someone you love in another relationship, making a mess of it, and, you know, essentially wrecking their own lives with their own inability to resolve their inner demons, which is really what's at the root of this inner child dysfunction and the resulting propensity to self-sabotage. They don't have access to their intuition. They're very much governed by those inner shadow aspects because they don't know how to face them and untangle them. In many respects, as I said, this connection serves a powerful purpose for each of you. you have grown exponentially as a result of your interactions with this person, and I feel very strongly that you do sit in gratitude for that. I want to be clear here that this feels like a very highly evolved divine feminine, but there's a message here that you're ready to let go, and that it's okay to let go, it's safe to let go. I think the fear in letting go is, if I let go, will I miss an opportunity? What if I let go and I move on and they suddenly become available and all my expectations could have been met, and then, you know, I'm going to miss out? But I don't think that's the case here. I feel like the message is coming through very strong to let you know it's safe to move on right now. Let's get some more cards to clarify that. What do we need to know about this person? Okay, that's flown out. It's 10 of Wands in reverse. What do we need to know about this person and what they want or intend to get from this connection in the near term? Okay, we've got 10 of Wands in reverse, 10 of Swords. We've got the Fool, and we've got the 3 of Pentacles. I want to clarify these as well. We've got the Lovers. Oh, we've got the 7 of Wands in reverse, the 6 of Pentacles in reverse, and Justice. What do we need to know about how this person wants to move forward? They're not ready to take responsibility. We've got the 10 of Wands in reverse. We've got the Lovers, which is about choices. This is often a representation of a third party. They don't want to make this decision right now. They don't want to make a choice. They don't want to take responsibility for their actions. We've got the 10 of Swords. It's called Ruin in this deck. This is a very painful card. You know, it's stabbed in the back energy. Clarified by the 7 of Wands in reverse. You know, this demonstrates that this person doesn't have boundaries. You can't rely on them to respect your boundaries or to show up in an authentic or meaningful way. They don't have those boundaries. I'm hearing over and over this person isn't safe for you to be around right now. They're not making decisions anytime soon. They're just beginning on this journey. This is the beginning for them. And whilst they're navigating these early stages of this transformation, this soul transformation, they're not in a position to reciprocate with this 9 of Pentacles in reverse. There's no equal give and take here. We have got the 3 of Pentacles, which is effort. It's teamwork, it's collaboration. It's clarified by Justice. Again, we've got quite a few 3s out for you to represent that love triangle. But for me, this is probably the more positive sign. You know, this is saying to you, if you can remain in this person's zone of awareness, the collaborative and cumulative effect of these interactions is helping both of you bring things back into balance and resolve karma. So by all means, proceed with that knowledge in mind. Release expectations and recognize that right now this connection is not about romance. If that's what you want, you need to look elsewhere. They're not available. They have no plans to make themselves available. But there is something powerful about the nature of the interaction. And again, the collaborative effect is productive. It's about bringing things back into balance, creating truth and authenticity. And look at this Justice card. We have the Sword of Truth here and the Bee and the Heart on the scales, and the Bee is heavier. You know, the work to be done, there's work to be done. That's where the focus needs to be. The Heart is not their focus right now. It's about doing the work so they can bring the heart into balance. So this feels like a very twin flamey connection for me, and the message is clear. You know, now is not the time for union. Things are growing, but if there's, I feel this, as I said, this feeling of pressure or time. Now it may be that you're ready to have a relationship, you're ready to have a family, you're ready to get married, and regardless of this connection, you know what you want from life. And so the message here is to go and get it, because this connection can't provide what you want and expect right now. It doesn't mean there's no value here, It doesn't mean there's no purpose. You are growing together. You're learning together. You know, but twin flame connections are way more about growth than they are about romance. Union can take a long time. And so you needed to know this today about your person, because I feel like you've put your life on hold, you know, in order to create space for them. And the message here is that that's probably misguided. That, you know, if you know what you want, you need to build a foundation. I'm drawn back to the buffalo energy in this card. You need to build a strong foundation on, you know, on which that can happen. So let's get some more cards here. What do we need? What else do we need to know about this person? We've got renewal. We've got preservation. We've got alliance. And from the Healers of the Earth Oracle, we've got quarantine. We've got caught in her web. We've got the cabal. And we have got higher learning. So again, you know, this interaction renews both of you. But look at this one, quarantine, retreat, seclusion, and inward journey. Look at those butterflies in their own little bubbles. And this is kind of how the twin flame connection is. You know, we are born believing we are separate beings, that we are not connected, that we're in our own bubble of awareness, that we're separate from everyone else. Because as a soul, you know, we've experienced unity consciousness. And then we get brought to earth and plunged into this body, this vessel that carries our own individual consciousness, and it makes us feel so separate from the world. When we go inwards, we realise that's an illusion, that we were never separate. It's only our physicality that's separate, that our souls are always connected. And so this is what you both need right now. You need to focus on the inward journey. This is the part of self that is being renewed in both of you. Preservation. You know, your person is not ready to face the inner child wound. You know, they're still concealing it, hiding it. They're not ready to face that change. You know, this is someone that's avoiding the inevitable endings that will allow for this renewal. They're avoiding the inevitable changes that empowers them to move forward in more enlightening and self-fulfilling ways. They're very, very afraid of facing their own shadow aspects. They prefer to pretend there aren't any, and that they're just a decent human being that gets up and goes to work and goes home to their spouse. They don't want anyone to know about their dirty little habits. They don't want to face that about themselves. This alliance you have with them, they are recognizing the educational aspects of the interactions. They are learning as a result of the communication and experiences they've shared with you, and this is what it's about. Again, it's that collaborative effort with that Three of Pentacles. This is an alliance that's meant to drive balance and wholeness from the inside, and it's represented here as well. High learning, research and apprenticeship, 43 being a number 7 card. You know, the number of divinity, the number of divine intervention. So, you know, this person is simply not ready to face their demons. Caught in her web, manipulation, drama and intrigue. And the cabal, schemes, conspiracies and intelligentsia. You know, again, this really affirms how inauthentic this person is. You know, they are not able to show up in an honest way. They are scheming and manipulative. You know, the toxic dynamic in their karmic situation means there is drama. And that excites them. It makes them feel alive. What a mess. But they do feel so very stuck. They don't know how to not play games. They don't know how to be somebody else. You know, this is someone that really struggles to recognize how, you know, to face themselves and improve self. Yeah, we've got secrets with the lynx. We've got moderation with rhinoceros. And we've got intuition with the cat. What's really clear is they don't want to let you go. I feel like you're aware of their dishonesty because I think it took them a long time to be real with you about this relationship. And they may still not have revealed all of the truth about this connection to you. But again, that's because it requires them to be truthful with themselves. The moderation rhinoceros. I'm hearing every time they do try and face their addictions, it just goes up in flames. They fall off the wagon every time and they're not very good at climbing back onto it. They get these inspired hits, kind of, you know, inspiration striking, and they have these momentary lapses in their manipulative dramas where they think, I can make this better. I need to work this out. I can't keep carrying this tension, anxiety. I'm tired of the secrets. But they're never able to find that balance. They do feel deeply, intuitively connected to you. It both terrifies them and excites them. There is a great deal of awareness here around, you know, the soulful nature of this connection. I'm hearing from most of you that you have perhaps communicated this to them. They may even know that you are twin flames. They do feel the energy of completion around that. That's to say, you know, it's like when they interact with you, a missing piece becomes reintegrated, but they don't know how to take it and have it for themselves because of this complex, toxic situation they're in. This person's afraid to change their life and to turn their back on this image that they've created for themselves, this perception of themselves they show to the world of being a, you know, a responsible, well-married human being. You know, it's a lot of this is to do with the parent approval and the inner child stuff as well. Okay, part two, let's get some guidance cards for both of you before we take this over to the extended. What's the guidance from Spirit here? We've got the sexual arts, we've got victim consciousness, and we've got say what you mean. And I'm going to get some tarot, more tarot cards as well here. What's the guidance here? And definitely some charms. We've got disappointment, 5 of cups. We've got the Queen of Wands in reverse. We've got the 8 of Pentacles and the World. And more from the Sacred Earth Oracle. We've got heat. We've got repetition. And finally, from the Healers of the Earth Oracle, we've got the intangible, good vibration, divine feminine, and hindsight. Okay. The sexual arts. I'm hearing that your person is very, very responsive to sacral chakra energy. And this is very common in the twin flame connection. Masculine energy is often very resistant to their emotional body, you know, whereas the divine feminine is by nature emotionally receptive. The masculine is by nature emotionally avoidant. So we often find that their ability to receive triggers in an emotional way is limited, and that means they have less opportunity for growth because they're not receiving energy in their heart center. But the sacral is usually open and responsive. And so there's some powerful guidance here about working with that energy. There's a book about Egyptian sex magic by Judy Hall that I recommend you read if this resonates for you, because sexual energy is very potent, and it's especially potent in the twin flame connection. This could be something very positive for you to explore, but there is a warning alongside that. You know, there's a lot of disappointment in this connection that needs to be released. Remember, energy doesn't lie. And so the way you're feeling, the disappointment that you're not expressing, is still being communicated energetically within the framework of this connection. And that counters any of the positive energy that's being cultivated. So there's a need for you to release and express disappointment in a healthy way, because this is bringing you back to unconditional love, which is acceptance, total acceptance. To love someone unconditionally is to say, I love you regardless of how you show up, of how you behave. It doesn't mean I have to stay in your zone of awareness, because that you might not be safe to be around, but I can still, you know, hold love for you. So there's a message here about understanding where your own conditions reside and the disappointment surrounding them. Victim consciousness. I'm really struggling to feel into where this resides, whether it's in the feminine or the masculine, and I'm hearing that it's connected to both. This is a number 12 energy, which is connected to the hangman, reduces to 3, the energy of the empress, or the divine feminine. But it's not coming through as being a straightforward energy of one or the other, you know, perceives himself as a victim. I think this runs actually much, much deeper for both of you. I feel there's been many, many past lives between you where you have been victims of one another's ill behaviour. And so this disappointment that exists within you is more deeply rooted. It's not just in this lifetime. There is an energetic imprint of that within your field from many lifetimes before, where you have both hurt one another. And so this really intensifies the fear of rejection, abandonment and betrayal that exists between you. It exacerbates that energy of disappointment. So this is something that needs to be confronted. I would definitely recommend past life regression for that kind of work. I go to a lady called Lorna Wilson, who's in London, but she does do Skype and Zoom sessions, so I'll share her details in the description box below. But it definitely feels like there's a lot of past life energy that interferes with the present energy of this connection. With the Queen of Wands in reverse, bearing in mind we've already had the King of Wands in reverse, you're also being asked to look at how you are mirroring their shadow aspects. The addictions that they are presenting now are likely in your field too. You may have already moved past them or addressed them to a certain degree, but what I'm hearing is there's more shadow there for you to become aware of and to work with. Because how they are showing up in this avoidant, uncommitted, irresponsible, dishonest energy, but very highly sexed, very addictive, very impulsive. This is an energy you know. This is an energy that's in you too, and that there's still some that needs to be transmuted, is what I'm hearing. Say what you mean. Powerful message there. Remember, 18 is the same number as the moon. The moon is all about fear, illusion, uncertainty, and also intuition. It's not necessarily a bad card. You know, the energy of not knowing is something we all respond to differently. You know, some people are afraid to take steps in the dark because they can't see where they're going, whereas some of us are really happy to charge forward and trust that what's ahead we can cope with. So, you know, there's an energy here about intuition and clarity and releasing fear by being direct and illuminating the truth. say what you mean. You know, this may mean you have to have a frank conversation with this person and draw to their awareness the real energies in this connection. I love that the Eight of Pentacles has showed up as guidance for you. You know, this is the energy of mastery. It's the energy of diligence and hard work and effort. And for me, this is reminding you that even though this may feel tiresome, that it's productive. We've got the World here as well. You know, this is the energy of wholeness and completion. And it feels like a really positive symbol as far as guidance is concerned. For me, I don't always interpret the world this way, but I'm getting this very strong energy of, you know, the world is your oyster, and only expansion and, you know, wholeness is available to you through this. That's what you're working towards, and it's worth it. We've got the intangible as well, the unknowable. And so this is asking you to get comfortable with what you don't know and trust. Remember, the energy of the moon is about having faith in what we can't know or see. And we've got those good vibrations. You know, this connection, as stressful as it is uplifting. There is a resonance there that allows you to grow. This divine feminine energy that's receptive, and we've got lunar qualities here. Remember, emotionally, intuitively receptive. And these lessons that you're learning, the self-realization that's being cultivated, and discernment is indicated. This card came up in pile 1, and again, look at the clock there. It's 11 minutes past 11 on the clock. You know, the benefit of hindsight. What do you need to dispose of now so that you can take flight? What is still keeping you stuck? You know, you've got to look back, reflect. There's a message here to reflect. In addition to the sexual arts, we got heat. Again, they've got their back to you. You know, this is heat that isn't being expressed. This is a tremendous amount of sexual chemistry that has nowhere to go. I'm guided, again, you need to work with this energetically. You need to find an outlet for it. And we've got repetition. You will continue to go round and round in circles, as will they, repeating the same cycles until the lesson is learned. The moon comes up again, the cycles of the moon to represent this. You always have the power, you know, to respond differently. All right, I forgot to get charms for you. So before we go to the extended, let's get them now. Keep that one that fell out. Okay. I'm a stupid baby. The pentacle. The stethoscope. The hourglass, the white rabbit, the blank paper, the Instagram camera, and finally the yin yang whales. The blank paper. For me, this ended up by accident in my charm bowl, but I always see this as, you know, it says say what you mean. But in truth, I think it sounds like a counterintuitive message, but I'm also hearing that there's nothing you can say right now to have, you know, to have your expectations met. You've got to realize the limitations of your power. Your journey is about self-mastery, as is theirs. That's what creates the change. So there's a reminder not to beat yourself up. It's not that you've said the wrong things, done the wrong things, reacted the wrong way. There is a message to say what you mean, and a suggestion that that's going to help release a lot of anxiety and lessons in this connection. But, you know, don't beat yourself up for what hasn't been said. There's a message here about this hindsight energy, looking back with frustration, you know, rather than feeling, you know, dejected and sad about it and beating yourself up. Remember that this is a powerful lesson learned. It's allowed you to step into awareness. It's improved your ability to discern what's right and wrong for you. Again, that inner child, that very fragile ego, I'm a stupid baby. You know, they don't trust themselves to be the person they want to be, the mature person. They feel so worthless inside. This is a message about protection. I feel this is a great weight of responsibility on you in this connection. And I'm hearing that you need to trust that they can protect themselves, that you need to focus more on your protection and your energy. There's a message to listen more carefully and to read between the lines as well. I'm hearing this person doesn't always express themselves directly or say what they mean, but they do reveal a lot but in what they choose to express, and there's a message for you to pay attention. You've got 2 messages about divine timing here. And remember we said, you know, there might be a baby clock ticking, a need to have what you want and to have it now. But there is a message here to say you're not late. You know, you've got to trust in divine timing. And looking at this little white rabbit's clock, it's 1:45, 1 being a new beginning. You know, so this is suggesting you're kind of on the right track. You're on your way there, but we can't speed this up. You've got to trust that everything's moving at the pace it's meant to. This person's constantly spying on you as well. They're constantly looking at your profiles and photographs online. And again, you know, these big loving energies are creating so much balance and harmony that you just can't see yet, but it's worth it. I really hope this was helpful for you, pile 2. I know these are hard messages to receive, and I'm sending you so much love and so much light. Do let me know in the comments down below if this resonated for you. If you want to follow up with the extended reading, you can find the links to that in the description box below. We're going to go a bit deeper there. We're going to get messages from your person's higher self as well. But thank you so much for joining me here. It's a pleasure as always. I really appreciate you guys and all the likes, and I love it when you subscribe because it means I'll see you next time. And thank you so much for those of you that take the time to make donations or watch commercials. That's such a generous energy exchange on your part. It's not expected, but it certainly is appreciated. So thank you so much. Don't forget to check out my website if you would like to book any services with me. You can find me at happysouls1111.com. Most of my classes are sold out at the moment and my diary is not open for readings. But if you join the mailing list on my website, you will be the first to know when I release new availability. So I will see you next time. Lots of love. Bye. Hello, pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Santa Muerte Tarot with this beautiful piece of lapis lazuli. Hola guapos. For those of you that chose this because of the Spanish or Mexican connotations, I grew up in Spain, so it's a culture I'm very, very familiar with and fond of. Anyway, I digress. Pile 3, what do you need to know about your person? In this reading, we're asking, what are you not seeing that you need to see about them, about this situation that you're in? These readings are intended to help you make better, more informed decisions about how to move forward for your highest good. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Remember, these readings are general readings, so they're not going to resonate 100% for everybody, but hopefully there are messages in here meant for you. And take a deep breath just now while I'm shuffling and ask the universe, ask the light, the messages you need the most. Hold the person you're inquiring about in mind, and take some time to ask for a sign as well. It can really help to ask for a sign. You can ask for an animal or a number or an object or a symbol, anything that feels good and right for you. And that just helps to anchor the message. It helps to validate what you're hearing. I'm going to be real with you. If you're new to my channel, I am not like most tarot readers. I don't tell you what you want to hear. I tell you what you need to hear. And so the signs can help you trust in the messages that you're receiving, because sometimes the messages can be tough. Okay, I'm just being honest with you. I don't think relationships are all love and romance like we see in the movies. Mostly they're messy and complicated. They're never black and white, and I hope to enlighten you on all those bits that we miss. You know, I'm not one of those readers that's going to tell you that your person's madly in love and going to propose tomorrow. Sometimes that's the case, but rarely so. And let's face it, if you're in a happy, loving relationship, you wouldn't be watching these readings. You're here because you're confused and you need to understand what's happening. So that's what I'm hoping to give you. Now, a lot of people watch these readings just because they want those comforting messages. Yes, they love you. Yes, they're coming. Yes, it's going to work out. As I said, I don't think that's helpful. It's helpful if it's true, but more often than not, it's not true. And there's stuff that we need to address. So that's what my readings are. I didn't say that on my other piles. I don't know why. I needed to say it to pile 3. There's someone watching this reading today that needed that message. Perhaps you're new to my channel. You're not familiar with my readings. They can be very triggering, but they are for your highest good. Okay, giving these a good shuffle. We're going to use a ton of oracle cards as well. We're going to use the charms as well. We're going to get some charms out for you. There will be an extended reading today if this one resonates for you. So let's do this. What do you need to know about your person, pile 3? What are you not seeing? We have the Emperor in reverse. We have the Hierophant. We have the 6 of Swords and the 8 of Cups. Clarifying, we have the 8 of Pentacles. We have the Santa Muerte card. And it says this is number 13. So it's the Death card called Santa Muerte in this deck. I love this. This is so interesting. I've never noticed this about this deck. I haven't used it that much, but it's represented by a pregnant skeleton overlooking this cradle, preparing for the new beginning. I love that. It was reversed, wasn't it? So Death in reverse. We've got the Hermit and the Empress in reverse. Very interesting. Okay, let's get some oracle cards out for you as well. This is the Sacred Earth Oracle. We have got Core. We've got Connection. And we've got Alchemy. From the Divine Animals Oracle, we've got Horse. And we've got Gorilla. From the Heal Yourself deck, we've got Sadness and Hole in the Soul. And finally, from the Healers of the Earth Oracle, we have got Quench Your Thirst, Ice Fishing, and Divine Masculine. Okay, just check that you can see all these pretty much. Okay, pile 3, what do you need to know about your person? What aren't you seeing here that you need to see and be aware of? Let's start here. The Emperor in reverse. Your person is in very distorted masculine energy. There are tremendous workaholic tendencies here, and there's a strong message that you must not underestimate how consumed this person is by their material world. That has always been their primary focus. This person has very goal-oriented tendencies, and the reason they are so focused on the material world is because this is where they anchor their self-worth. If they're not driving the right car, doing the right job, living in the right neighborhood, they can't feel good about themselves. They have defined themselves their whole life by the presentation of themselves that the world sees. You know, so they need that approval. They need that impressive response from the people around them to feel good about themselves. This is someone whose ego cannot function without all of those sources of feel-good energy, i.e., wow, you did so great at work this week, Bob, you're the top of the top performer, or, you know, they need to be achieving, they need to be performing. This is probably someone that is very successful and accomplished in their life because, you know, their focus is so much on their material world. It's how they define themselves. The reason you needed to understand this is because you often interpret their lack of reciprocity or presence, or their focus on work, as an excuse to not see you. And, you know, you can see that their lifestyle is out of balance. But in truth, you know, this person is not personal. This is how they cope with life. This is how they function. This is how they feel good about themselves. So if there's been conflict about work in this connection, this is something you really need to acknowledge, see, and understand. It's not personal. You know, they're not keeping busy to avoid you. They're keeping busy to avoid the truth of who they are. Yeah, workaholic tendencies is a trauma response. This person doesn't feel good enough unless they're performing. Now, I do feel this is a fairly religious person that you're dealing with here. They have a very strong moral compass, a very strong sense of right and wrong. They're very particular about how they interact with others and how they present themselves to the world. This person needs to be seen and heard, but they need to be seen as heard as a pillar of the community. You know, they, as I said, they place an immense amount of value on how other people perceive them. So I'm hearing that they keep moving away from you, and this energy is not intentional. You know, it's not like this person has sat down and decided, I don't want to be with this person anymore, I'm not spending as much time with them. This is someone that just feels divinely guided right now to be self-focused. It's not even a conscious decision. They're in this energy of transformation and higher learning, and I'm hearing it's deeply uncomfortable for them. They're not ready to face a new beginning. They're not ready to face their demons. Again, this death card is so very interesting because it sees this new vista opening up and this pregnant skeleton about to give birth to new life, this empty cradle waiting. But of course, death being that energy of resurrection, when it comes up in reverse, you know, we're guided here that this change is not, well, this person isn't ready for that change. They are midway through a very uncomfortable cycle. And so they're running away was not personal at all. They felt divinely guided to pull back. They don't really understand why they are pulling back. I'm hearing this person may also have faced a death in the family. So there's a lot of grief as well that they're processing and that they're not comfortable communicating with it about. With the Six of Swords here, I don't normally read it this way, but it can often indicate travel. And I do feel that this person may have literally physically moved away. This could be for work or business trips, but you know, I do feel like they may have taken that time out, maybe gone on vacation on their own. There's some energy here of them literally withdrawing. So if they're not working, you know, they are probably on their own. And this has left you very insecure, very panicked, somewhat paranoid, wondering, well, who are they with? You know, what is going on that I don't know about? Why aren't they interacting with me or showing up in the way they used to? But you're being asked to recognize they are on an inner journey. This Eight of Cups is again a very solitary energy, and it is the running away energy. Traditionally in the Rider-Waite, what we see with the Eight of Cups is someone running up a hill, leaving the Eight Cups behind. And the story of that card is that they are running, you know, towards themselves, but they have to leave things behind so that they can have that self-focus. And again, the Hermit energy really reaffirms this. You know, this person needs that space and freedom right now. And I'm hearing that they are healing at their core. It may be a slow process, but there's actually a lot going on here that you may not be aware of. I think primarily you needed to be reassured that this person's avoidance of you is absolutely nothing to do with you at all. I'm hearing they don't actually realise even how you truly feel about them. They know that there is a great deal of affection between you. You've probably been friends for a really long time. Maybe there was some romance in the past, but they're not aware of how deep your feelings are. So it's not a deliberate attempt to you know, to play hard to get. It's not a deliberate attempt to pull back. This person's dealing with some very difficult changes and transitions in their life, and they are taking the space to try and resolve that from the inside. And I feel that they probably haven't communicated that, but they didn't feel the need to. They didn't understand that you needed that reassurance from them. As I said, I do think this person perceives you as being a very close friend, and that they're not aware of the depth of your feelings. What's really beautiful about this is that even though it seems that absolutely nothing is progressing in this connection, there are some powerful breakthroughs occurring. In this ice fishing card, you know, we've got this energy of increased self-awareness, and this is what the Hierophant indicates here as well. You know, this person is very much going in. The Hermit energy is someone that's in deep self-reflection, and again that they've needed to take the time out to do that, but this is creating tremendous breakthroughs and opportunities for really positive forward momentum. It's interesting here that the Divine Feminine, the Empress card, is coming up in reverse, clarifying this Eight of Cups. Now, when Divine Feminine energy is distorted or dignified or blocked, what we see is chasing energy. And so there is a warning here that, you know, the energy you have presented has been quite needy, you know, and that this isn't, you know, supporting the energy of this connection. It's supporting it in terms of presenting lessons through which you can learn. But there is a warning here that this person is very self-sufficient and they are very much repelled by people who aren't. You know, they've had to learn to take care of themselves, and they really respect and value people who can do the same. I'm hearing this person has had really difficult relationships with their primary caregivers. It's possible that they were not supported in the way they needed to be, but actually found themselves caring for their caregivers. And so this has created a very strong aversion to neediness in them. And so this distorted feminine energy, you know, it might be beneath their layer of conscious awareness, but this distorted feminine energy is triggering them to go further into themselves. That's not to say it's wrong. You know, we've got to trust that that's what needed to happen. I'm not saying that you were wrong to be in this energy. There's no right or wrong about it. It's just what it is. But it does help you to be aware of how these energies challenge the connection in different ways. And as I said, in this particular instance, for this person, they find that energy really difficult to deal with. Now, it also reveals something important about yourself, because I don't think you were aware of how grasping your energy has been perceived. As I said, this person's confused. They don't necessarily understand the depth of your feelings, but they do feel this kind of grasping energy when you reach out that makes them somewhat uncomfortable. And that is something that they tend to lean back from. There's a message here as well about quenching your thirst and replenishing self. And this person, as I said, they're very firm about filling their own cup. They don't like to need others. They're not good at reaching out for support. They're not good at demonstrating weakness or vulnerability. So it's quite possible that they've not even discussed all of this stuff that's going on for them. You know, they might not have said, look, I need time out, I'm doing this self-reflection, you know, I'm having these kind of personal breakthroughs. They certainly wouldn't talk about their emotions. And this is one of the challenging things about this connection, that this person can seem devoid of emotion, very switched off, doesn't express how they're feeling or what's happening in their lives. They have this tendency to just kind of take themselves off to a quiet place and deal with it at a very independent level. But this is divine masculine energy in motion. What we are seeing here is the evolution of a really beautiful soul. But as I said, this is such an uncomfortable period of change for them that it probably has caused them to just, you know, withdraw and to seek this freedom and peace that we're seeing here with this horse and gorilla energy. For me, the gorilla is also a symbol of that masculine energy of dominance. But what I like about this card is that we can see that they've removed the mask. You know, they're looking out at the world. They've got this higher perspective. You know, this is a number one. It's connected to unity. They're finding this peace, and this is allowing them to align with the truth of who they really are. So even though this is difficult for you, and it feels like, you know, this connection is futile and that they're not interested and nothing's happening, in truth, there is so much happening. Again, this energy of grief, sadness and loss. This is a number 5. Again, this is part of that transition. I'm hearing their religious or spiritual understanding has very much been sparked by the loss of a loved one. You know, as I said, they do have a very strong moral compass anyway, but they're finding so much comfort right now in the idea of spirit and religion. I do think that, you know, this Ouija board, is presented here in the Hierophant, which is really quite unusual. If we, you know, assume the Ouija board is a metaphor for communicating with spirit, you know, I think this is what has opened them up as well to their own divinity. They've lost someone, and by being receptive, you know, to that loving energy from the light, by being receptive to this person that's passed from the other side, they are actually opening up their own awareness, and it is bringing them so much peace. You know, this person definitely believes in life after death, and I'm not sure that they believed in that before. When we look at these two cards in combination together again, that death card in reverse is really interesting. You know, this person recognizes that nothing really ends. It just goes on in a different way, that there's no such thing as death or someone just disappearing and, you know, being snuffed out, that they continue to exist just in a different energy. So it does feel like, spiritually speaking, this person is having a lot of powerful breakthroughs, as we saw here, increased awareness, and really working with this evolving divine masculine energy, you know, working to repair. And again, this is 36, which reduces to 9, or hermit energy, you know, working to repair that hole in their soul, taking responsibility, which is something this person's always been really good at, you know, of taking care of themselves. And so we've got alchemy, the suggestion of temperance. You know, this is reminding you that this, whatever is happening here with this person, that it's all divinely intended, and the way these energies merge with one another is creating more harmony and power in this connection. And there is a powerful connection here. It's a very emotional connection. I'm really guided that she is surrounded by all of these water creatures. The starfish is a very clingy energy, if you think about how starfish cling on. And so this being represented front and center, again, demonstrates that kind of addictive quality to the connection, and how neither one of you have really been able to let it go. I can't shake the feeling that this is someone you probably had a relationship with a really, really long time ago, and it's never really got off the ground again, but neither one of you has really moved on. You feel this person at your core, and you need to understand that they feel you there as well, but their capacity to feel into their core is significantly limited when compared to yours. So again, this person is very closed off. They are learning to navigate their emotions, but they are not doing that yet. They're just scratching the surface. They're having these breakthroughs. They're increasing their ability to be self-aware as far as their emotions are concerned. But apart from the 8 of Cups and this sadness that we're seeing here, you know, this whole spread is devoid of emotional energy. And again, you know, this really highlights how pragmatic and practical this person is, how much they like to deal with sadness and difficulties in very practical ways. And even though they've taken themselves away, perhaps on some kind of vacation or holiday, or just taking time off, they're probably still filling that time with fairly practical things. You know, this is someone that's probably, you know, just keeps doing things to keep busy. Again, that trauma response, keep doing, you know, don't think about what's bothering you. But they are on this journey back towards their emotional self. You know, they are learning to face these aspects. So what else do we need to know about your person, pile 3? We've got the Knight of Wands in reverse. We've got the Ace of Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles in reverse, the Knight of Cups, the King of Wands, and the Hanged Man. I do think that in the past, this person had a bit of a Jack the Lad, Casanova, kind of a, I think the American version of a Jack the Lad is a frat boy. You know, that very macho, egoic, I'm the man, and, you know, that kind of energy. This is something they're learning to let go of, I'm hearing, and that they're maturing into something more genteel. They are recognizing their own emotional inadequacies, and they're working hard to try and overcome that. There's something that you communicated to them that was really deep and meaningful. And I'm hearing that even though they took a great deal of time to respond in a way that they felt was appropriate, they still reflect on that interaction and wish they had said more. It was this interaction that allowed them to recognize their own emotional limitations. Because your communication was so genuine, so real and sincere and just so deep and meaningful, it really inspired them to recognize where they were lacking in delivering the same kind of expression. And they spent a great deal of time considering how to reply, and they still to this day reflect on how they wish they had done that differently. There are so many things that this person wants to say to you, things that are in their heart that they cannot formulate into words because they don't have the emotional lexicon or dictionary to be able to articulate themselves. As I said, they're very disconnected from their own emotional body, and yet there's an urge here to pull it all together and understand it and express it. The reason being is they were moved by what you said, and it struck them as a beautiful gift to have the capacity to be able to share love in a way that could be received so meaningfully. And they wanted to reciprocate that. They wanted you to feel as valued as they felt when they read or received what you communicated. And they didn't know how to do that. So again, you know, if you were disappointed by their lack of reciprocity, you know, if you went to great lengths and trouble and effort to communicate something really beautiful and you were frustrated that they didn't seem to honor that, you need to understand that they wanted to and they tried to, and they still think about how they could have done that better, and that the whole experience taught them something really valuable and important about themselves that they need to broaden their emotional horizons and experiences and to be more inviting of those energies into their world. But in real terms, that's a challenge for them because, again, their heart chakra is very closed off. They have not been taught to work with their emotions, and it's a really alien concept to them, which they're still finding their way with. There is a new beginning on the horizon for this person. It's not clear if they're in a relationship or not, but I'm guided to say if they are, it's not something that's lasting or real. It's a distraction, as has been most relationships that this person has had. I'm hearing that they tend to get tangled up in relationships rather than choose them. I'm hearing that in their past, you know, they have been really committed to someone, but that was because it went on for so long they didn't know how to extricate themselves, rather than it having been, you know, the love of their life. And this is one of the problems this person has. They don't do endings. They're not very good at letting go of people or pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. And even though they seem very avoidant by nature, you know, they do find a lot of stability and comfort in being involved with someone. And so I'm hearing there may be, it won't be the case for all of you, but there may be a third party situation in the background. But the timing of this relationship is such that this person, you know, needs that stability or comfort right now, rather than this being, you know, a really powerful connection. They're learning again, you know, to be more mature in their approach to love, to be more creative, to be more expressive. And it feels like they are restricted within their current experience from really doing that. I feel also that moving forward they are going to need some help to help shift their perspective, and that's to say that, you know, your presence in their life is really important. You know, you activate in them so many things. I mean, for example, that letter you sent, you know, it's brought them that very powerful awareness of their own emotional deficiencies. And what I'm hearing is that a shift in perspective is required and is in motion. But actually, you know, there is an opportunity for you to collaborate on them with this. I'm hearing that you haven't because of their lack of reciprocity. You've decided that, well, you know, I don't get the kind of responses that I would expect. I don't want to keep putting myself out on a limb only to be rejected or not valued or not received in a way which helps me feel good. The message here is that you must evaluate where that's coming from. This came up in part 1, very different energies and circumstances there, but the message was this: being true, i.e. being authentic and communicating authentically, is doing it for the sake of being true to yourself. When we have an agenda, i.e. I want to say this to this person so that I get XYZ response, or I'm not going to say it because I might not get XYZ response, or I might not like the response, that's egoic. That's codependence, it's attachment, it's agenda, it's need. It's not authentic communication. It's communication that's designed to create a specific result or response. And if you can't rely on that result or response, you choose not to engage. So that's not authentic, it's not real. And the message here is that there is so much more to be gained out of this particular connection when you show up in a real way, and that they find this very, very powerful when it comes to these changes and lessons that they are processing. Again, it can help you to shift their perspective if you continue to show up in the way that you were. You're being asked to release fear and, you know, to be true to yourself because it feels good to be true to yourself, and that's the right, healthy way to be. Not because you anticipate a certain response, or because you're scared of receiving a certain, or not receiving a specific response. I want to get a clarifier on that. What would this collaborative effort look like that is being encouraged? We've got the Queen of Wands, so we've got counterparts here. Now remember, the Queen and King of Wands are the Queen and King of Fire. Fire is the energy of spirit. This is all about beautiful, empowered energy of each of you stepping into your light and allowing yourselves to be divinely guided and inspired to make the next step. It's about following your intuition and avoiding the fear that can inhibit you from doing that. So, you know, they are growing into divine masculine energies. We've got power and solar qualities again here, connected to that fire energy again, you know, and they're saying you need to do the same. You know, speak because you feel inspired to speak, not because you want a specific response or fear a specific response. You know, this is about, look at this, she's holding this candle. You know, she's illuminating the path forward. Her energy calls to his. Look what I'm doing over here, and look, you know, they are responding. I see you, you know. So I do think that this is asking you not to hold back so much. When you feel the urge to reach out, let go of the fear that it's not the right thing and trust your impulses in the moment. Make sure they're not from ego. As I said, ego wants to communicate so that it can get some reassurance, comfort, or response. You know, that's not real love. That's needing energy. It's giving so that we can receive, which is completely out of balance. That's conditional love. I'm going to give you loads of love because I want some back. You know, that's fear. That's needing love. Authentic love gives because it feels inspired to give, not because it needs anything in return. And, you know, that's what you need to focus on here. How are you not showing up because you're fearful of what you may or may not receive in return? What else do you need to know about this person, pile 3? Breathing room. Fantasy. Time to fly south. Sound healing. So again, you know, we've got 2 cards here about travel, moving away, freedom of movement, space and ease, travel, vacation, getting away for a while. Now, flying south is revisiting our past. You know, our south node is representative of where we've been. So this person needs to focus on where they've been and to find peace in that. So they may be cycling through old karmic patterns. They may be revisiting old relationships, experiences or whatnot, but they definitely need this space right now. Again, the message is coming through strong. Their absence in your life right now is not personal. But we've got fantasy here as well, imagination, concept, daydreams. You know, this person thinks about you a great deal. You know, they definitely fantasize about you in a sexual way. I do feel a tremendous amount of heat off this card. Sorry, just listening. Hold on. So again, this is connected to this communication you've had with them that inspired this energy, because I feel like things have been fairly platonic between you, and I don't know that what you expressed was necessarily romantic, but it was loving, and that loving energy turned them on. You know, it actually turned them on, and it's triggered all of this kind of fantasy energy, daydreamy energy, where they spend, you know, spend this time thinking about you in a variety of quite romantic but definitely highly charged sexual situations. But it was the loving affection that came through in that communication that really turned them on. You know, that you spoke to their heart in a way other people haven't, and it was really attractive and sexy. So this is something they think about a lot, and they've designed, you know, a ton of fantasies around that experience that involve you, and that's quite lovely to know that, because as I said, it feels like, you know, things have been platonic between you, and there's not a lot of stuff here to anchor your faith in when it comes to how this person feels about you, because they don't tell you, you know. And again, it feels like there's this great distance between you. They're somewhere else. Sound healing, healing tones, self-expression and music. Music is really important in your connection. If you are a musician or a singer, or you express yourself through the you know, the musical arts, there is a suggestion here that that is very healing for both of you, and that you should definitely you know, nurture those energies. But this is a number 13 card as well, which reduces to, well, it's 67, reduces to 13, reduces to 4. And 4 is the number of balance, stability, and creating a foundation. So this feels like an important message here, you know, to know about this person, that what they can't feel with their heart, that perhaps they can feel with their ears, that music is able to communicate with them on a different frequency, at a different level. You know, music does carry energy. You know, we can all play a note and say, oh, that sounds dark and gloomy, or that sounds happy and light. And so it's important to understand that someone that doesn't have that emotional dictionary can still receive emotional energy through the musical arts, is what's being communicated here. And that's a powerful thing for you to recognize. You didn't know this and you needed to know it, so it was definitely needed to come through for you. Dashing through the snow, meeting your twin. It's definitely a twinny connection here, and commit to a path. So we've got dashing through the snow, minor setbacks, delays, roadblocks, meeting your twin, like attracts like, kindred spirit, mirror, commit to a path, keep focused, continue, and persistence pays off. So this person may or may not be your twin flame. If you've suspected that and you're showing up for this reading on the basis that they are, then you can take that message as an affirmation. But remember, these are general readings. If that doesn't resonate for you, just leave that part out. But for sure, there is a kindred spirit connection here, a soul connection, and definitely a mirror connection. You're being reminded that, you know, what you see in this person is in you too. In truth, all peoples act as mirrors to us. They show us how they see us. And we're able to see previously hidden aspects of self because of those interactions, because they show us a different mirror to look in. You know, one person might love me to death and the next person might hate my guts. They're both projecting something different into that mirror for me to learn from. Neither one of them is wrong or right. You know, it's just their perception filtered through their own layers of awareness, consciousness, and experience. But I can learn from that. What are they showing me about myself? And whether you're a twin flame or not, This is what you're being asked to acknowledge in this connection. You are more like this person than you give yourself credit for. And I do believe that you are emotionally very grown, but there's a great deal of pride in the way of that. And that's the masculine energy. You know, it's Leo energy. It's the energy of, you know, wanting to save face, wanting to preserve this certain impression of self, which is what your person is doing in distorted masculine energy, controlling how others perceive them by being a specific way because they need to impress upon people that they're so great. So you've got to ask yourself how you're doing this too. Dashing through the snow, minor setbacks, delays and roadblocks. This is number 34, reducing to 7. We've got 77 over here. You know, this is divine energy. It's divinely guided energy, and these are minor setbacks and delays. So whatever's happening right now in this person's life that's making you think, oh boy, you know, this can't happen now. You're being asked to remember that these are minor setbacks. You know, the snow doesn't stay forever, unless we're in Antarctica, which hopefully you're not. But, you know, generally the snow melts and spring comes again. And so this is asking you to just ride this out, to recognize that all of these delays, this separation, all of the energy that exists between you right now that is so challenging is just, you know, a minor delay, an obstacle that isn't insurmountable and can be bypassed. Commit to a path, keep focused, continue, persistence pays off. This is a powerful energy because, again, this person is responsible for self. As I said, they're very self-sufficient. They like to take care of themselves. And so when they identify these broken aspects of self, this person is very motivated to address it. And what we see here is them illuminating their own way forward. Again, developing this increased sense of self-awareness, you know, and allowing themselves to open up. So they are on the path of healing. You know, they may not have the same context, understanding and awareness that you have, but they are still making great strides. And this is really, really positive, pile 3. I feel it's hard for you because there isn't a great deal of communication. There's a separation and perhaps quite a great distance between you. And right now this connection feels really impossible. But it does feel like lots of really productive stuff is happening. I want to understand more about this though. I want to ask, what do you need to know about this person's intentions towards you and where this connection is moving? We're going to get guidance cards as well before the extended and some charms. But what do you need to know about this person's intentions towards you and where this connection is moving to? Healing, family and tribe, wild. Let's get some more. So Sacred Earth cards. Ready but waiting. Perspective and friction. Okay. Healing. You know, we're asking, where is this person intending to move in this connection? What are their intentions towards you? And we've got healing here. You know, this is a beautiful energy. It's also divine feminine empress energy. It's world energy. It's the energy of completion and wholeness and fullness. Ready but waiting. Remember, this is energy in motion. You're both getting ready for something, but the timing is not now. But this person has been inspired to heal by you and they're taking that seriously. I do think they feel very deeply connected to you. They see you as family. They see you as part of their tribe. You know, this new perspective, you know, they're looking at you and thinking, you're my world. But I'm hearing, and this is a very complicated energy. Let me just find the right way to explain it. What I'm hearing is, whilst they're seeing you in this light, it's also very confusing for them. You know, they don't know what's right or wrong or what to think or feel right now. These feelings are transient. They're like energy passing by that they can't quite grasp and comprehend. So these feelings are there. They feel connected to you. They feel that deep familiar soul connection. They know you're part of the same tribe, and there's definitely a powerful romantic and sexual energy there, but their perspective is still coming into balance. you know, during this transitional healing process, they still can't grasp all of those feelings, all of those pieces of the puzzle, and put them together in a way that they can understand. We've got this wild energy here in friction, and, you know, because of their previously, again, it's that Casanova frat boy, Jack the Lad ways. You know, this is how they create chemistry in a connection. And again, there's a lot of sexual power and force here. And I do think that you may find that they do have intentions to ignite that energy between you. And I'm hearing it hasn't been ignited for some time. I'm really drawn to this lady's red dress. I'm really drawn to how glamorous and sexy she looks. This is a number 6 card as well. It's titled Wild, but they have this perception of you as this very attractive, very sexy person. And they have very wild, sexy intentions. They want to build that sexual chemistry and friction into this connection. They want to ignite the spark here, is what I'm hearing. Okay, let's get some guidance cards here and some charms as well. I'm going to start with the animal cards, the Divine Animals Oracle. If you're interested in what decks I'm using, I always list them in the description box below. We've got Raven, we've got Jaguar, and we've got the Fruit Bat. The Fruit Bat has come out in all of our readings today. Every single one of them, we've had the Fruit Bat. Okay. Fruitful labours, growth, birth, manifestation and a harvest. Higher learning. And cherished pet. And what else should we get here? Okay, let's get more of these Heal Yourself cards. Get a couple of these as well for guidance. We've got home and sexual arts. Okay, told you, big sexual energy here. And some charms. Okay, see what we've got. Wow, another travel symbol. We've got the aeroplane. We've got the Losers Club. We've got the Wizard in Training. We've got the Diamond. We've got Hello, I Am Yours. And we've got the light and dark counterparts, another very twinny symbol for you there. So for guidance pile 3, you know, we've got Raven, which is news. It's clarified by fruitful labours, growth, birth, manifestation and a harvest. Now remember that energy of resurrection is currently blocked. Your person's going through these uncomfortable changes. But I think you can expect these breakthroughs and this powerful news very soon. You know, this is an incredibly productive period for both of you. You are releasing so much energy by being self-focused. And I'm hearing that you, pile 3, by default of the nature of this connection and the lack of communication, you've had to be self-focused. And there is so much higher learning happening here. You know, you are both apprentices to your own soul, reintegrating all of that lost wisdom and rediscovering who you really are. You know, we've got this Wizard in Training energy, this energy of evolution, psychic development, growth. Again, these breakthroughs, increased self-awareness. You know, this is happening for you. And you can trust that it's really fruitful, that there will be a harvest. There is growth here and you're going to receive some kind of news soon, which is going to illuminate the shadows and bring clarity. The Fruit Bat is clarified by Cherished Pet. And in this deck, it's called Kindness. And here it says receiving care, attention, domestication. Again, going back to that very nurturing energy they feel from you, the loving affection that they haven't felt before. This energy deeply inspires them. And again, the guidance is to not restrain yourself from communicating that way, because they love it. It changes them and it brings them closer to you. Now, I say this with caution, because if you're not in a balanced state, your ego right now will be going, great, the more I express love, the more he loves it. It's not about doing it because he loves it or wants it. Remember what I was saying earlier about working and operating authentically without egoic agenda. But it is being brought to your attention that genuine care and sincerity, and you did express it with genuine love and care. You know, whatever difficult thing this person has gone through, I feel like you reached out and it was so meaningful. They felt the truth and authentic nature of your kindness and care. That is the energy that you want to focus on if it's true and aligned. This person feels like home with you, and I'm hearing that they will come home to you. But right now, it would really pay off to nurture the sexual energy that exists between you. I'm mindful that we're kind of at the end of your reading, so I don't want to go too deep into this, but I did talk about this in pile 2, the nature of sexual energy in the divine masculine and how it works in twins. It might help you to go and check out that message in pile 2. But you know, if your person is very receptive in the sacral chakra, but very closed off in the emotional body, as we're seeing here, it can really help you to nurture the sacral energy within the connection, because this is how they're responsive. And as I said, they've already got these fantasies going on. They're already engaged in that astral sexy play with you. So that's something you want to nurture. Now, again, you know, we've got this aeroplane energy. There's definitely this energy of going somewhere or being gone, and a distance between you. For guidance, and this has got 1958 on it, in case any of these numbers are significant to you. But I want to show you this because the energy that's coming through, you know, this is how you feel about yourself. You feel like you're cycling through the same bloody lessons and not learning, and you feel so stuck in a rut, and you're so very hard on yourself. I'm such a loser. Why am I still struggling with this? It's that kind of beating yourself up energy. The guidance here is to trust in those cycles and forgive yourself. Give yourself more kindness and love. You're a diamond and you shine so bright. You know, all of this work is just polishing all of those rough edges and helping you step into your fullest potential. You know this person is a soulmate or twin. That's come through very strongly in this reading. Whatever the nature of your connection, it's deep, and these light and dark aspects are being illuminated for your learning. But this person is for you. They're meant for you as you are for them. That's no guarantee that you'll be together, but for sure this feels very positive for me. And, you know, what I'm seeing here is that there's an incredible amount of growth that has occurred as a result of these mutual interactions and the ongoing nature of this connection. And that's valuable and beautiful. I hope that was helpful, Path 3. I'm going to take this over to the extended. We're going to go deeper. We're going to look more at their thoughts and feelings. We're going to get messages from them so they can tell you directly what, you know, well, the higher self can tell you directly what you need to know about them. So if this resonated, you can find a link to the what's wrong with me? If this resonated, you can find a link to the extended reading in the description box below. Hopefully I'll see you there. But if not, thank you so much for tuning in here. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate your energy exchanges, and those of you that watch my commercials, I appreciate that generous energy exchange. Thank you so very much. You guys are so very special to me. Thank you for your likes, for your comments. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Lots of love, Pile 3. Bye.